Dara and Amrit Irani, who have a very special, unique, and touching story about how Baba's loving guidance has affected their lives. So we have a delightful evening ahead of us. So Dara and Amrit, take your places.
No. Okay.
There's a table and there's a glass.
There's a table and glass. Oh, okay. I better not wave my arms around then.
I keep it next to me.
Okay. Are we rolling?
No.
Not yet. Let me have a glass of water then.
Yes. Is it good? Can you
What
hear
happened
us?
to it?
I got it. You want
Oh,
some?
well, I'll have a sip, please. Thank you.
That's what for 53 years I've been serving him.
You figured out marriage.
You see,
You figured out marriage.
exactly, my friend.
Yes.
Let me move a little closer to so they can.
Okay. So you start again, Dara.
Yeah? Okay. Once again, thank you for inviting us here and putting up with us again. Next time, don't make the mistake. You know now, you can have Meherwan on stage. He does a better job than us.
Yes.
Anyway, really, when Chai Pani won that award for the best restaurant, we were flooded with people saying, "Oh, you must be so proud." And I said, well, maybe pride isn't the right word, but we are very grateful to Baba that with his blessings, Meherwan and his restaurant has achieved that. But today, I would say I'm very proud of Meherwan. Yeah. Never. Yeah. First time I heard him share his thoughts about Baba. Yeah, so lovely. Talking about sharing thoughts with Baba. Well, I can pick up from yesterday when I said that in 1964-65, when I'd come with my family from London on a visit with Baba, one of the days, as I mentioned yesterday, while sitting in Mandi Hall, Baba turned to me and he said, "Don't worry, I've already found the right girl to be your wife." And as I say, I was 20 years old. So nothing further was mentioned. The rest of the time of my stay, I didn't stay at Meherazad, but the visits with Baba, no mention. So sadly, the time came back for me to return to my life in England. And 3 years go by before I finally get a cable from Baba. And now this is September 67. And in the cable, Baba says, "Are you ready to get married?" And I said, cable back to Baba. I said, "Baba, anytime you want me to." So Baba sends a cable back to me to say, "Well, I'm pleased with your answer." And then he sends a message to my dad to come to meet Baba, see at Meherazad to discuss about the marriage. Even now, I have no idea who this right girl is. Yeah.
After 53 years.
So my dad then prepares to come to be with Baba and to discuss concerning the wedding. And this took place in January 68. My dad came by himself, but prior to coming, Baba told my dad to take me to a photographic studio and get some enlarged photos of myself taken. Later on, we discovered what for. Amrit will tell you that part, which my dad was to bring with him when he came to Baba. So my father came in January of 68. He stayed back till Baba's birthday that year and then returned back to London. And on his return, I got to know that Baba had picked Amrit to be my wife. I hadn't heard of her till that time. Then, of course, a little history about her background was told to me, and that was it. Of course, my dad said Baba had picked the date for our wedding, 23rd December 68. Before that, we were to get engaged on the 22nd, which was also the main event. That day would have been Meheraz's birthday. And as I say, I just prepared myself for that event. But prior to that, Amrit needs to fill in her part.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
You're still
Hello,
there.
Jackie. Okay. If I blink, tell me, okay? Yeah. So, we were three sisters and one brother growing up, and two sisters were married, and brother was younger than me. So parents had decided, okay, if you want to study, you study, you don't have to get married, and I was happy about it, not to get married. In those days, 50 years ago, 18, 19, 20 was considered okay is to get married and all. But my father, thinking this, she's last daughter, she can stay longer and study and finish her school, college, whatever, and then we'll look a boy for her. We were still, arranged marriages were still there, but not as our happened. Anyway, so one day I came back from school, college I was 17-year-old, just, the second year of junior college, whatever and my father gives me a huge big envelope, brown color, and he says on top, Amrit Kumar, care of Shatrughan Kumar, my father's name, and the address. So then other side or same side somewhere was there from Avatar Meher Baba. So I realized, this letter is from Baba or Baba's Mandli, whatever. But I was surprised that my father didn't open, because communication was always with father. We would get messages from Baba now and then. So when I was given this envelope, my father said, you read and then share it with us if you think it's whatever. They were all anxious to know what this contains. And it was nice, thick, big envelope. His photos were there inside. So I went to my room, and my room was upstairs. I go there, I open the envelope, and the photos slip out. There were 2, 3 of them, different size. And just to give you a little part, that time, in those 67, 66, 67, Beatles were in Rishikesh with that Maharishi Yogi. And even though we weren't from that sort of background to know who the Beatles are and all that, but it was such a big deal. Whole Rishikesh is part of Dehradun. And they used to come there for their shopping and all, with their whole big entourage and all that. So we schoolgirls used to go and watch them. So when I saw this photograph, it looked like one of the Beatles. Dara had his hair till this is 60s. I mean, his hair is long till here. And living in West, he was, skin seems much lighter, and, anyway, so I picked up the photos, good-looking guy, and put the photos aside, and I started reading the letter. And of course, it was from Baba. And he said on top, with a bold letter, Baba had dictated this letter, even though it was from him, but Arish was writing. As you all know, Baba had stopped writing many years ago. So the headline says, read this letter carefully. Do not take this as my order. I'm just asking you. And can you imagine Cunning Baba asking you, ordering, what difference? Yeah. So he said, I'm just asking you. And then about his nephew, my nephew Dara, whose photos enclosed, and everything about him, his age, where he lives, what type, how much education, what type, job he's doing, and if I marry him, I had to live in England with him. But before that, that was last line. Before that, everything about his eyes too, that he's got this disease called retinitis pigmentosa, and quite often, after certain age, people do go blind. So Baba didn't keep any secrets about, even talked about his asthma too. And so the whole big letter, so the top line was, just don't take out my order, and I'm asking you. So when I finished the letter, I just read it only once, put it in an envelope, put all the photos, and when, I don't know, it was like, I'll just tell you the story, what I did. So I came downstairs, gave the envelope. I said, share with your family, share this letter with your family. And their opinions are important too, what they feel about it. So I left the letter with my father, but didn't give him a chance to read it. I had a bicycle. I took that. Those days, as Meherazad was saying earlier, telegrams were the main way of doing fast communication. So I go to post office and send the telegram to Baba, Dara Mir Baba, this thing, yes, I will marry your nephew Dara. And came back. Till that time, I didn't even know. I knew Baba got money, we all knew, because money used to send gifts for us and all that, with father whenever he visited Baba. But didn't know how many brothers Baba got, and if they're married, they got children or whatever. So it was like his nephew. So when I came back, whole family, even that when I left, it was only my mother, father, and my younger brother. By the time came, both the sisters were there who were married. I don't know what happened, and my aunt and this one. It was like a whole. We had a big front veranda, and they all standing there, literally waiting for me when I come back. My father said, "Where did you go?" So I said, "I went to post office to send the telegram to Baba," and sure he could have a heart attack. Okay, what was my answer? Then he said, "What did you say?" And I said, "Yes, Baba, I would marry Dara." He was so happy, sigh of relief, because my father was completely Baba's. No other answer could be, would have been right. So, after a big hugging and this, I saw my mother sitting one side and crying, but he lives in foreign country and he's a foreigner, he's not Hindu, and he's going to go blind. And look, and my aunt is standing, but he looks like a gunda means like a rogue, with long hair and all that. Don't marry, you can say, no, Baba just asking you, not telling you. So my father and myself both rolled our eyes, I said, let them, So, within a third day, I received a telegram again from Meher Baba. I'm really happy with your answer, and I would like you and your father to come immediately. He hardly gave us any time, like 2 to 3 days to prepare ourselves for traveling, and come to Meherazad right away. So we got, ready to go, and all of a sudden, when I was sitting in the train, we passing by those days, traveling used to be very long. Train used to go via Bombay. Nothing came straight to Ahmednagar. You have to go to Bombay and then take a cab or bus or something to come down to Pune and then anyway come to Nagar. So I'm sitting in the train and I don't know, all of a sudden, not thinking about whose Dara is or Baba had asked me to get married or anything, I start thinking about Baba, this way, am I really going to see God? Because I have seen Meher Baba, as we said yesterday, when I was very young. I remember seeing Baba when I was 4-year-old, because Baba came there for a 54 darshan in Dehradun, so I still remembered Baba's face and all that. But we grew up like a Christian child in Christian family or Hindu child in the family. You're Hindu, you're Christian, that's it. So we were Baba people without really. And yet deep inside, I must have loved to obey or, say yes to this marriage. But when I was in train, I started thinking, how come? Out of all my school friends, my rest of the family, my this one, that one, why I'm called to Meherazad to be with Baba. And, excuse me. And so my father noticed that I'm not eating anything and I'm sitting quietly, trying to pretend to sleep half the time and all that. I said, "You all right?" He thought I have changed my mind. So he got really worried. He said, "You okay? You this thing, you that, why you're not eating, why you're not?" I said, "No." But it started building inside. As I was getting closer to Meherazad, through this way, that way, and it became really very strong that I wouldn't say, it was like mixed feeling, that little longing, little like why me? And I don't even have words for all that the feeling I was having. And so when we reached the railway station, there was, I was still very quiet, didn't talk. Can you imagine me quiet? Yes. So in railway station, Adish Senior and Dr. Donkin, he had this brand new car, and they both come to railway station to take us to Meherazad. So I'm sitting in the car too, very quiet, and so Adi tried to talk to me, and I just, yes, no, this. So Dr. Donkin, he got a little, they said, by the way, very British, I'm Dr. Donkin, but you can call me Donkey, because that's what all the locals call me in Nagar. So that kind of little smile came and all that. Then we were taken to, which is trust office now, it used to be called Khushru Quarters, which was Sharoz and Senior's family's home was there. I was taken there and washed up, and because we've been traveling for a couple of days and change of clothes and all. And by the time we reached Meherazad, it was sunset, and so first greeting man side of the Manli. I thinking about Baba so much, and and so just wanted to see him, how the God really looks, and what I'm going to do, and how am I going to embrace him, or we didn't even know that time about Jai Baba. I think Jai Baba came around that time, or so. When I reached to men's side, our car came. Most of you been to Meherazad. There's first you drive in. There's a men's side of the area, and then from the narrow side lanes you go to the ladies' side. So I came, and there was that time Baba's mandli was really big. Kaka Baria sitting, and this Baba, I really thought he is Baba. Everyone looked like Baba. It was so much of Baba in my mind. And I was almost ready to, then I realized, no, it's not Baba. Then I saw Kaka Baria, and then this one, that one, Pendu, and all these old things, they all look like, just for a short while, just looking, and Baba, and then no, they're not Baba. Meanwhile, Arish comes, and he said, come on, you're late, it's getting dark, very practical, and don't stand around here, ladies are waiting for you, and Kumar, you stay here with us, and Amrit is staying there with ladies, and was pushed towards the ladies' side. I go there, and Mehera's veranda, there I see Mehera Mani and all their Mandli ladies, Rano, Naja, Meheru, so many of them standing there. And they have this, a little platter, steel something with a little, so when I reached there, they gave me some flowers, then they gave me a little candy to put in my mouth. It's like with the sweetness, enter our home. It's very Eastern culture, that where you come with the sweetness, like be a sweet, like this candy or something. And then Mehera and Mani said, Amrit, it's very late and Baba's already gone to bed, so you won't be able to see him. And I'm in tears, my heart is banging, And then when I heard that I can't still see him, it was like a big disappointment, because this means I had to go for another night of thinking about all those feelings. But that moment, I never knew how Baba called the mandli. I heard the clap. And all of a sudden, these ladies, they left me there and they just ran in Baba's room. And then I'm alone standing there, and after some time later, either Mani or Mihira or somebody, Mani I think, came. She says, Baba said, you come now to visit. I don't know which was difficult, to go now and see Baba or not able to see Baba and feel that, wanting. So I'm standing there, and Mani literally with hand took me to. So I was taken from Meheraz's veranda. Then comes Meheraz and Baba's sitting room, and from that sitting room, there is Baba's room. When you go to Meherazad, you go from outside usually to take darshan, but this was from inside. So when I went from that door, Baba's bed is there, and so I was coming from this side of Baba's right side. From there's a door I'm coming. Baba's sitting on the bed. What I saw from there, I didn't see any avatar, any god or anything. I saw that old man sitting, and quite a lot, like very low. Baba was this thing, his head is up till here, and little ponytail I could see, and Sadra I could see his, on his bed he's sitting, and that cushion where we bow down, that cushion, his feet were on that cushion. And I'm standing there, and the tears are pouring out, and I just couldn't move. So then I saw this old person lifts his hand and kind of does like that. So Baba's hand went there, so I came in and stood in front of Baba. And still, literally sobbing and crying, then I don't know. And so Baba first said, "You okay?" Then we suggested, I understood, I just nodded. "You must be tired, we're traveling for so far away and all that." He said, "Yes, Baba." I didn't see any God sitting there. I just saw a sick old man trying to talk to me, and I felt hot. I felt like running away from there, and just stood for a little while there and didn't know what to do. I didn't even fold my hands. Usually that's how you greet elders. Forget about Baba or God or anybody. And I didn't do anything. I'm just standing there and just sobbing there. I don't know how long it was that it happened. And there was quiet and completely quiet in the room. I'm sure all the ladies were there. Mihira, Mani, they always stood behind Baba's bed or near where his feet should be. And and that moment, all of a sudden, Baba raised his hands like that, like when you want to embrace somebody. He did like that. Believe me, I have no idea. Nobody touched me, so nobody pushed me. I went for his embrace. And still weeping, and I put my head on his left shoulder, and what I saw, my tears was wetting his sadra completely. And my eyes must be with the tears. And I saw that shimmery, very, like light there. And I'm just experiencing that there, this thing. But I'm at home. I'm, completely, it wasn't like I want to get away from there. It was so beautiful in simple words. And so after, I don't know how long I was there, then I feel Baba's hand literally pushing me in front of him, and still holding, and I'm just touching his feet. I'm that close to him, and he's holding and looking at my face, and I realized that I'm not weeping anymore. But what I saw Baba's frown on his head and saying, like telling me, I really got this feeling like he's telling me, I had to prove myself every time that I am God. Yes. Because that embrace was not a regular embrace. It was something so beautiful, something like that completely different experience, and which you felt before you've been part of that embrace before. So that sort of feel. So when he was holding me, and no words, nobody said anything, I'm standing quietly, and I saw that you human beings, like every time I had to prove I'm the one, so I have to go for you. Anyway, So for a little while, all of a sudden, the room felt beautiful. Everything was nice, and there were giggles. There was this, there was that. Then Baba said, "I'm going to sleep now. You go have something to eat with Mehra and ladies, and then you." So that cottage next to Baba's house, Baba's room, where Meheru and Arnavaz and all. Arnavaz were living in Bombay that time. So is Katie too. They haven't moved to the Meherazad as yet. So I was given the room with Naja. I shared the room, but I could see from my bed, like that Baba's door, that through that little passage there. And so that was, anyway, the whole thing was I was invited there for the talk for the wedding. So, yeah, so that time Baba said to me, now you go and have something to eat and rest. And tomorrow in Mandi Hall we have, it's a long day, we'll talk about arrangements and all that. So I just kind of nodded. There's still no talk of Dara or from me or Baba, from anybody. And I remember now after that, next morning, I got up and I realized nobody's around. Then I'm just... I was still 17. It was October. November was my birthday. And so, tired maybe from traveling and all. When I got up, I noticed Naja is gone, all the beds are made. There's nobody around. So I knew where the dining room is because I had a previous evening, I had a little dinner there. So I went running, couldn't go to Baba's room. I went that side to see if, and they were all sitting. And guess what? Head of the table, Baba is sitting there. Yeah. And I saw another beautiful scene that time. Baba was freshly washed. He's wearing this beautiful, after my tears, he maybe had to change this. Lovely, fresh sadra he's wearing, sitting on the chair on dining table. Who you guys, most of you, been to the Baba's dining room. And Mehra is standing next to Baba and combing his hair, and same time now and then looking at Baba. And Baba got this white color big bowl in front of him with a spoon, like nice big soup spoon. And Mehra now and then, and there's this beautiful white bib on his, tied on him. And that scene was like mother and child, completely Baba, beautiful, glowing, beautiful, old man sitting there with this bowl, but didn't look old man, he looked like a... And mother is telling Baba, Baba darling, she will very sweetly, have a little more, Baba, have one more spoon. And Baba will say, I'm full. He will look at her like, can't eat anymore. Baba, just one spoon for me. He will say, okay. He will give, and then he will take one more spoon of that, this thing. And meanwhile, I was asked to sit next to Mani. So I was sat down there, then Meheru, go ahead, Naja, everybody was sitting there on the dining table. So after some time later, Baba said, come, all of you breakfast, I'll take a little rest, and then we'll meet at the Mandli Hall. So then when Baba was, I don't know, it was Mehra and Mani or Rano and Mehra, two of them helped Baba's from both sides, and Baba walked. And one was with Baba, which I often, whenever he walked, he'll fly the kisses like that to everyone. Even to the Mastan dog was the, he will, it's like that, without sound or anything. And then he was taken to his room, and rest of us has breakfast, and then Mehra Mani came back. After that, I remember Baba was carried in that chair to Mandli Hall. Now I see third scene. My first scene was as a sick old man sitting on the bed, and then he became a beautiful, loving Baba, and then this baby in the dining room. And now what I saw, Baba is all alert. Baba is all looking around. And Mandli Hall, one side was almost 8-10 chairs were put, and maybe they must have come overnight or something. Arnavaz, Nariman, Meherji, Adi Senior, Meherji Karkaria, and all those, my father, and all they're sitting, Vilu, all sitting in one side. Vilu Sharosh, both of them, because they. And and other side was nothing, and there was little strip of rug was there. And so Baba was like looking this way in angle because here's a door to come inside. And here they're all sitting. So this way he could see them or anybody sitting down there. So I sat down there. And Baba, like a businessman, asking Adi, you made the list. How many guests we're inviting? Dar is nowhere there. There's no talk of marriage. No question was asked to me what I would like or this date. Nothing, like just sitting and watching all that. And Baba, and listen, have you invited so-and-so? Call that whole family too. And then he looked at Sharosh and Velu because they did most of the catering and all that. What you going to serve? And so that you must have all heard because I remember most of your faces telling the same story. So they said Baba will serve Sharosh and Velu, will have some samosas and some sandwiches and some, there will be wedding cake and that will be made into pieces. And a few more things. And then Baba said, what about for drinks? So drinks means soft drinks. There was no question of any wine or anything. So, so Velu says, so now you want to tell this story?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So Baba turns to
him.
Velu, who he had given the responsibility for the catering for this event, Meheraz's birthday, and the next day, the wedding. So, of course, they had a very limited budget, so it was all snacky foods, sandwiches, potato chips, this savory thing we call chura, and what Merwan serves in his restaurant, batata wadas, yeah? So this was it. So Velu told Baba, I think Baba, with the limited budget, I think this would be good to serve. So Baba agreed with her. Then Baba asked, as Amrit was saying, what about refreshments? So Velu said, Baba, again, we don't have much money. So what I suggest is that in those days you could buy a bottle of concentrated orange squash and dilute it, and from one bottle you get several glasses. So she suggested, Baba, orange squash. So before Baba could say anything, Sarosh exploded. He said, orange squash? This is a wedding, not a children's birthday party. The least you can do is serve Coca-Cola. Believe it or not, in Coca-Cola those days was something,
Yeah.
So Velu says, Sarosh, but you know how expensive a bottle of Coca-Cola is? We can't afford it. But Sarosh insisted, no, it has to be Coca-Cola. And before you knew it, they'd forgotten Baba was there, and they started an argument amongst themselves. Baba listened to this for a little while, and then, of course, he clapped, and both their attentions again turned to Baba. So Baba turns to Velu and says, Velu, what's the problem? What's the argument? So Velu says, Baba, you asked me to cater, and I'm suggesting orange squash. But here's Sarosh, saying that no, we can't serve orange squash, it has to be Coca-Cola. And, we can't really afford it. So Baba says, yes, you're both right. So why don't we compromise? Half the drinks orange squash and half the drinks Coca-Cola. So, you would think the solution to the problem was solved. Velu kept quiet for a little while. And then after a little while, she again said, Baba, there's going to be one problem. So Baba says, what's that, Velu? So Velu said, Baba, everybody will go and drink the Coca-Cola. Nobody will touch the orange squash. Then what are we going to do? So Baba said, you're right. Everybody will make a beeline for the Coca-Cola. But once the Coca-Cola is finished, by force they'll have to drink the orange squash. See how beautifully,
it
practically
was so
he does all
normal,
that.
so
Yeah.
just like home with Baba.
Exactly.
Just every
So that's what happened, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so that day, that morning, everything was decided. I did, as I said earlier, I wasn't asked for, and no question was asked to me I mean, they were doing a fantastic job, I guess. So I'm sitting, and we've been brought up doing every Sunday Baba's prayers, like aartis and prayers. So I'm sitting there. I said, well, I'm sitting here, I can do my prayers here, but I couldn't do this way, or I couldn't speak about. So I just sat on the carpet down, and without, just in my mind, just inside, I started doing his prayers in Hindi in my mind. That's how we did. Same Parvatigar prayers and repentance and all that. And right in middle of Baba talking this one, okay, this thing, and you, and did you talk the thing? And he did like that to me, and I didn't even realize, I realized later on that he did like that to me. And sometime later, then it's in my mind now. So when everybody left for their room and things like that, I couldn't ask anybody else. I asked my father. I said, did you see that? Baba looked at me in the middle of something while talking, and then they did like that for one fraction of a second. And then he said, no, I didn't see anything like that. So I thought maybe either it happened, nobody saw it, or my imaginations. I was there that time. Baba kept me for several days because there was more this thing. Tailors were called to take measurements to make engagement blouses and saris and all that, and for wedding and all that. So Vilu would come regularly or take me out to things like. So one day, either Mani or Goher. Goher was there as a doctor. She was always, from the lady side in that meeting, was only Mani and Goher. Goher as doctor and Mani as to take notes and all that. So Goher said, that day, Baba did like that to you. Then I didn't say anything. I realized what it was. So after all that, Baba sent me to Bombay after staying, I don't know, for 8-10 days, and every day with Baba. So one day I'm in Baba's room, and Baba said, then meanwhile Katie and Arnavaz, they were all called for a few days. And Katie would tell all sorts of beautiful jokes to Baba, and Baba would laugh and all that. And so one day, all of a sudden, he looked at me. He said, Amrit, tell me a joke. What joke? I mean, I have a few naughty one. I can't tell Baba that. So I said, Baba, I don't know any jokes and things like that. He said, nothing. So anyway, I told a joke, which I'll tell you tomorrow. It's a story by itself. It was a story, and Baba loved it, and he laughed. Anyway, so all these things used to happen every day, and then I was sent to Bombay, and Arnavaz, Nariman, and all, even Dolly and Jal were in Bombay at that time, Khorshid. So I had to visit all of them, getting introduced to the family. And then they took me to buy a wedding sari. Before leaving Meherazad, Baba said, you're going to Bombay to do your wedding sari. Which color are you going to buy? Wasn't even thinking about it because it was so beautiful there. So I said, Baba, what do you wear? Then, so I said, Baba, back home in Dehradun, Hindu people wear bright red or green saris with lots of gold, especially red and all that. Baba, whenever you would think he will do, he held his chin and he looked down and he said, but Iranis and Westerners, they all wear white. So you do one thing, you buy pink, and he did with both hands, like red and white, and you mix these two colors and you buy a pink for yourself. So that's what happened. The pink sari was, he mixed cultures to even every moment, for small things. And and Baba told Arnavaz and all, they take Amrit to restaurants and things. I was from small town, from the farmer's family, but not when we say farmer's family, we want either Hilly-Billy or Arangaon. There are very good schools and things like that, so we were educated in good schools, but our income was farms. And so we haven't seen, I never saw prior to that an English film or anything. So take her she'll be going to England, introduce her to restaurants and movies and all that. So Nariman, Katie, Havovi came along to Arnavaz, and they took me for a movie night, and that was the movie they think, How to Murder Your Wife. So, I could read English, and I could sort of, yes. And it was comedy. Remember in 60s, late 60s, this film had come. So anyway, I saw that film that time. And after living a few days, I was sent to Dehradun. And before leaving Meherazad, I was told the engagement is on 22nd and wedding will be on 23rd. So what happened then? We got married.
Well, while all this is going on, I was totally oblivious of all this because I was still in England. Of course, I knew that Baba had arranged our wedding for the 23rd, engagement 22nd. So prior to that, Baba then sent me a cable to say that, as I mentioned earlier on, I was already finished with my studies and I was working in an engineering factory. So Baba told me to take leave from work and come to get married and then return back to England with Amrit. So I arrived with my family from London on the 21st of December. Yeah, just a day before the engagement. Now, Amrit had already arrived there ahead of time.
I was there from 11th of December, like 10 days before.
But on arrival, she was sick, so she was confined to her room. Anyway, when I came, of course, I stayed at Vilu's, and then the next day, for the engagement, I was driven to Meherazad, and
we could see each other on 21st, as Baba has arranged that, but I was so sick, and that would have been our first meeting while I'm flat on the bed with a high fever. So Baba said, no, tomorrow is engagement, that time they can meet, yeah.
So as on arrival at Meherazad, I see this 200-300 Baba lovers assembled there. And so my father and I, he escorted me up to the veranda, and there were 2 chairs that were placed there for Amrit and me. So I was
You've seen the movie, yeah.
told to sit in one of them and wait. And I looked up and I saw all these people who I thought were just looking at me, which of course they weren't, but I felt like a fish out of water, yeah, and felt, because this was something totally new to me. Any case, luckily,
I'm glad it was new to you. Can you imagine already engaged and already?
Luckily, just after I arrived, word was sent inside. Amrit was inside, being dressed.
From my room, I was taken to Mehera Mani's room next to Baba's, where they gave me this engagement sari, which I didn't buy. It came from Mehera and Baba and Mandli. And they helped me to dress up in their thing, gave me some jewelry and all. And I'm wearing it today. One thing they gave me that day was this pendant, this locket, yeah. And put me in saris and asked me to do my hair, do something to it. My mother is there too. And Mehra Mani, it was their first time they helping somebody to get engaged and next day for marriage. They had no idea. So they had called Gulnar, Rustam Saurabh's sister, Gulnar to come there and say, what happens, what you do. So Gulnar said she has to do something with her hair, tied back or something. I had a long hair. And the saris, and put some bangles and a little bit jewelry and all that. So I was given all that, and then, of course, Baba is still in his room, all dressed, and I was taken to Baba's room, and I saw Baba, I started weeping again. And so Baba said, what happened? I said, Baba, I'm not well, and, still have fever, and all. Baba said, but no, look at you, looking so nice, so beautiful, and don't worry, everything will be all right. It's just, and you go out now. So ladies didn't come with me. Arnavaz and my mother, they brought me out where Dara was sitting, and there was another sofa. They made me sit down there. And again, as Dara said, there's 200-300 people. They were all looking at us because. So when you see us, the same time we saw each other, and we haven't even talked. And
so when she was brought out of the room, like a good English gentleman, I stood up. But then I didn't know whether to shake her by the hand and say, oh, nice to meet you, or what.
No, he saluted me.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but we was feeling so uncomfortable, but fortunately, within a minute, Baba was brought out.
Yeah. And then first it was Mehra's birthday was celebrated. We all sang happy birthday to Mehra. Mehra was there too. Mehra was already introduced to men monthly from distance a year ago. So this time, not only monthly, even all the male guests too, females sat around Mehra and that side, and all the male guests sat a little distance. But later on, they all came to greet Baba. And then they turned around and said happy birthday to Mehra too. So that way Mehra was exposed to the world, to the, like from distance. Because Baba knew he's going to drop body. And from that day, 1 month, 8 days later, Baba had dropped his body. So you already had prepared her to whether she could see to the men and say Jai Baba from
for
distance.
the role she was to play.
Yeah. So then our engagement was beautiful. I don't know, but they must have taken my ring size or Dara's ring size. But Baba is holding our ring, so he opens his palm, and we both pick up one ring each, and put it on each other. And we were engaged. Erich came, and first, before engagement, exchanging the rings, introduced us the Kumar's daughter Amrit and this and that. Everybody knew, but like a little introduction, like Chris does now and then. And it was small, beautiful ceremony. Some sing-songs were there, and for Mehra, so that day, Mehra's birthday, Rustam Saurabh had sang, a couple of other people was invited, they sang the song. And then we were all sent for the party outside, that the porch, the chairs were moved one side, table put, and all those Coca-Cola and orange squash and other food was kept there. But Baba said, you go to your room and rest. You can't be part of the party, because I still had a fever. People say, Amrit, you don't look very happy. I think I was happy, but I was sick. So I went to my room. After half an hour or so, I'm resting. I changed and I'm resting. Arnavaz comes with Dara. And literally like meet your fiancé, like first time we were introduced after when we were already engaged. And then there was a chair, my bed is there, so I sat down. I was lying down, so I sat down on my bed. And there was a chair, so Arnavaz asked Dara. Dara could see that time, his day vision was good. Nighttime he had a little problems. He sat down on the chair, and we didn't know what to say to each other. We didn't. We both sat quite So, as he said, like living in Britain for so long, like a real British guy, I say there's a nice weather outside or something like that. He comes out. And really, I'm not joking. He did say that about what the British people do, talk about weather all the time, and that's what he did. That's how our conversation started, with a nice breeze outside. Yeah. And then again, there was nothing, so he got up and he quietly leaves. 5 minutes later, Arnavaz is back again with him. This time she sat down there with us, and it was a three-way conversation. So that
She broke the ice between us. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said, how fortunate you both are that Baba's taken it upon himself to bring you both together and be present at your wedding. Anyway, so then that day was over. I went back to Vilus. Amrit continued to stay there at Meherazad. And the following morning was the wedding. Now, God may have arranged the marriage, preside over it, but still doesn't make it legal. So we had to have a registrar come for the wedding certificate. I mean,
Yeah.
Baba, of course, arranged all this. So Saroj, being in the position he was, because we had to be at Meherazad at 9 o'clock in the morning. And in India, no government office would open much before 11 o'clock. But Saroj got the registrar out of his bed by 8 o'clock and brought him to Vilus. So that's where...
And I had to go from
She was brought from Meherazad to Vilus for the signing of the registrar. And then Saroj, being Saroj, he had to have everything in a grand way. So he had all this connection with the military. So there was a military band outside playing.
That Scottish band, all those bagpipes and all
bagpipes
that.
and the
And
works.
I'm driven in Baba's car with Baba's driver sitting alone in the car and looked in. So what's happening there? It's like another planet.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so it was quick signing ceremony, and then we have to go immediately back because Baba wanted everything to happen early in the morning, as he wasn't well and didn't want it to link, the whole day should be there. So exactly same thing happened next day. We in front of Baba, and sorry.
Say the wedding cake was there that day, and those 2 roses with icing sugar. Yeah.
That was a wedding. I'll tell.
That's what I'm saying. The wedding, isn't it? Aren't we at the wedding now?
We haven't married yet, Ali. Let's get married first.
Okay.
So saying the wedding day again. Very similar thing happened. We got dressed at Meheraz's room and things. I'm feeling a little better that day. Was brought again by my mother and Arnavaz too, and Dara is waiting. And this time he didn't salute because he knew me now. So and so after some time it was same thing. Baba held. First our rings, wedding bands, which I wears down, very small one back here. And then we garlanded Baba. So then Baba said, what about garlanding each other? So we didn't arrange anything. We didn't even know what we have to do. So there was no garlands prepared for us. Usually bride and bridegroom's family brings 2 extra garlands to, they can garland each other. So we had, no idea about all that. So Baba said, no garland? People were bringing flowers, and Baba was just touching that, and they were keeping next to his feet. So there was a pile of garlands. So Baba said, pick up 2 garlands, which was offered to him. So his 2 garlands from his feet we picked up, and we garlanded each other. And that's how. And then again, little ceremonies, sing songs, and again, like refreshments outside and things like that. And again, Baba did something very practical and very, not that just because we are married, so I should go with my husband now. We didn't even know each other. So Baba kept him back in Meherazad after marriage too. He went to Vilus, and then he would come every day. He came next day, it was 24th, his birthday. And so we were in Baba's room. Baba gave him gifts and things like that. And Baba said, told the money or somebody arranged the Irish car for them. So in his car, both of us were sent to go and visit relations in Ahmednagar, spend few hours together here and there, and then I would come back, and Dara would leave from gate. He has to go back. So it happened. So that's how it was our courting time after we were married. But look at him. It wasn't like usually in India when you marry, you go with your husband. Doesn't matter, whatever. So he did beautifully, slowly, and the New Year's was coming, and I was sent for the New Year party to their house there. And gradually, then he was sent us to Pune, then we went to Bombay to some, because I had to have passport to go to England with him to sign some papers. He sent us to Aurangabad with the families, so giving us more and more time together from 23rd till 10th of January we were with Baba. So in those time when I was Meherazad and Dara used to visit, of course every day we visited Baba. And one of those days, the story Meherwan said earlier about Baba's blessing us, first said one child, and he has spelled it out, Meherwan, and then he said, no, my warehouse is full of these beautiful souls, I'll give you two. And then later on, Jamshed is named after Baba's brother, Jamshed. And so sometimes this will happen, he will ask us, what did we do, where did we go, what did we eat, and all that. One day he said, all out of blue, like a fourth, fifth, sixth days, do you love each other? I mean, so when somebody, Baba asked this question, nothing has to be negative, everything has to be yes. Right? How could you say no to Baba for anything? So we kind of both nodded, kind of yes. He said, so even he made us do that. So he said, you love each other, kiss. So Baba said, so I went and gave him a peck on his cheek and thing. Dara did the same thing to me. Baba. Two people, they say they're in love and that's how they kiss. Yeah. Anyway, so one day was like that. So one day, just before we were leaving, Baba again were in his room. You want to tell the story about the rose?
About the?
Roses.
You tell it.
Okay.
You're on a roll here. Carry
Okay.
on.
Yeah. So we're in Baba's room. So most of the time, when Dara was there, only ladies will come, no gents will come there in Baba's room. But when Dara wasn't there, sometimes it was Arich, another Mandli will come to read a book or something. And quite often I'll sit on the side and listen and all that, if Baba allowed. And so this day, Dara and myself standing in front of Baba, and Baba looked towards the ladies who always right side of him. So now, Baba every day didn't sit down on his bed and put his feet. Most of the time he would be on the bed, lying down with lots of pillows, so his head is a little up. And, there was one day, you tell that one when Baba stroked your face.
Yeah, well, you finished the rose story, then I'll tell it.
Okay.
You're digressing.
Okay. Yes. So see, God, what a good wife I am. Yeah. So Baba looked at his lady's Mandli and he did sign something to bring something. So one of the ladies go inside and come back, and she was holding nice pink color, this big, like a perfume box. So I thought maybe Baba used to give us gifts all the time. Mandli was giving us gifts all the time. So I thought maybe some other gift. And so Baba made this person who brings, or Meherazad, somebody, open that. And in that box was in tissue, soft, one pink and one white tissue, had two icing roses on each tissue. And they were from our wedding cake. Like on cake for decoration, they put roses and little things. So Baba or some Mandli must have thought of that and told about Baba. So because Baba knew about it, and Baba gave us those two icing roses, said, eat one on your 25th wedding anniversary, and another one on 50th anniversary. Yes. So we did that 3 years ago, our 50th anniversary. Meherwan, Jamshed, all the family, everybody was there. So we had one 25 years ago. So first 25 years ago, first we were living in England. My suitcase got lost. The rose got lost. Then it came back. We were living in Villa. Those electricity used to go regularly, so we couldn't put it in the freezer or fridge or anything. So it was always in same pink box in my wardrobe in a nice, neat place and things like that. And so after 25 years later, when the same day Miran and Molly got engaged too, we went in the morning, we went to Samadhi and we sat down in those benches and hardly anybody in the afternoon. Baba's shrine is there, Dara, myself. So we had taken one, I just picked up one. It happened to be the pink one. And so I took it out and it was still complete, even though it got misplaced and this and that. And then I broke the petal and I gave it to him. I said, you eat first. If you're still alive. No, I didn't do that. So I just, petal by each petal came out and we both shared. So it was like in Christmas time, or then you have that little dry icing lie around. It's like a little chalky, but it's still sweet. And nothing was wrong with it after 25 years. Meanwhile, after 25, we had that and had a little party in the evening and all that at Jal and Dolly's. Then time passed and things like that. So now I was more careful for next 25 years. So many beautiful things used to happen once we were flying back from States, from somewhere, from Chicago or something. And our flight got hit by lightning a couple of times. And everybody's screaming and things. So I said, Dara, nothing going to happen to us. We have to eat that 50th. No, really, we really talked like that. So nothing will happen to anybody. Because Baba said you have to eat that after 50 years. So how can we die? So things like that used to happen in our life. So I really kept this. Now we had our own separate home, our own freezers, and we were controlling this everything. So I took it out from that box and put it in a tight container, plastic container, very tight, airtight, with the same tissue which Baba had given inside that. And now and then, whenever I had to go through, I'll see that, but I'll see that little tissue is puffing up inside. And a time came after 25 years, which was 3 years ago, 19, right? Or 6, yeah.
What?
When was our 50th anniversary? Darling.
2018.
2018, December 23rd was our 50th. So I took it out that morning, and when I took the lid, it was complete, it became square in that, it became like a cocoon. Somehow the moisture got inside. How long it was in the cupboards, the wardrobe or something, nothing happened, but now, so I took it out, I tried to open that on our 50th anniversary. You go to Samadhi, we'd bring this. This time, being 50th, all my relations, cousins, nephews, children, everybody's there, so they all come to Samadhi, not like first time, like 25th. And we bring this and we try to open that. And I said, Dara, the rose is melted and it's gone all in tissues. So we have to eat the tissue now. No, really. So I took the little piece and anything and I gave him a little piece. I took like a goat. I mean, couldn't even swallow. So I said, then we bring that home. And I said, let's slowly cut it inside. The core of the tissue inside will be a little bit more sweeter and more thin. So when I cut the tissue gently, layer by layer, I have photos in my mobile and all that. It was full, rose was still intact inside. So which even children say, oh, why can't we have a little bite? So no, Baba said, you two eat it, for us. So we both had the whole thing. And then we kept the tissue, we still have it. And yeah. So that's our 50 years and now it's like 3 years after. Good morning.
Hello. I'm here.
Yeah. Anything? So I guess that's enough, right? 2 minutes? Oh, yes, tell that one.
Which is what?
One day when we were there with Baba, and Baba asked us both to lie down, one from left, one from right. On
Sit,
his-
not lie down.
sorry, sit next to him and put our heads. Yeah.
On this occasion, our meetings with Baba after the marriage was always in his room. So on this occasion, and Baba would be mostly seated on his bed, and we'd approach him. But on this occasion, when we entered his room, Baba was lying down. He wasn't feeling well enough to even sit on his bed. So as we entered, Baba gestured to us to come and sit on either side of him. I sat on his left side, and Amrit on his right side. And Baba raised his hand and started to stroke our cheeks.
Dara's.
Now, not yours? Well, I don't know, my
Yeah,
cheek
yours,
at least. I
yeah.
can just
Yeah.
speak for myself. So he was stroking my cheek, and instinctively I just held his hand as he was stroking my cheek. And then, to my great good fortune, Baba then took my hand and started to make me feel his
face.
cheek. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we leave rest for the tomorrow.
Nothing was said.
Yes.
Baba just looked at us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on another occasion, you and Shireen
Yes.
share that also.
Yes,
When Baba was
we
lying
when
on the bed.
Baba's lying again on the bed, and he called me from one side, Shirin, and he put our heads on his chest and literally kind of pushed head on his chest and said, "Be like sisters always." Yeah, take care of each other and all. So, which little way we are so far away from each other, and we in touch. The first few years we spent together.
So we said our goodbyes to Baba on 10th January and then headed back to England. And then, of course,
Yeah.
31st morning, my father gets a phone call from Amrit Irani to say Baba's dropped the body. So, of course, he gets us all up and tells us that Baba's no more. So then the next thing, my dad's wanted to know that he wanted to come for the entombment, but he wasn't sure whether he'd make it in time. So he managed to get through even through all that, he managed to get through to Mani Auntie, and she said, "Just come." So the next available flight, my father came, and of course, Baba was there for 7 days, so my father was there for the entombment.
Yeah.
And of course, he tells that when the word got out and when Delia, who was very close to the family, found out my dad was going, she just insisted that my father also took her. So my father arranged for her also to come. So that was it.
That's it. Okay, this great. Thank you, Jai Baba.
Jai
Thank
Baba.
you, dear folks. Jai Baba. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dara and
Thank you,
Amrit.
dear Chris.
Wonderful stories.
So tomorrow we'll tell some funny stories about Wheeler Wheeler days. Yes, Christopher? You can all share in.
1 minute.